introduction to the book of Exodus, the book which we're going to start studying now. We finished, by the grace of God, Genesis. Parts of it we recorded in Myanmar, and the rest we recorded in Thailand. Then and there's one or two verses in Malaysia because of verses that I forgot to read. Then after that, we did John in Malaysia, Indonesia, and as well finished it in Thailand. And now Exodus, starting with Exodus. Where Exodus will take us, I have no idea. I need to still be here in Thailand for a bit, and then the plans kind of go back to Myanmar. And then from there, I might go to India, but only God knows. And then some other time I need to go to South Africa now. I hope by then I'll be done. So I have no idea, right? We'll see how this goes. Anyhow. So, the book of Exodus. Right. I was standing here this morning, looking out in the balcony, just one day in Pattaya again, and seeing this scene behind me, and I thought, wow, man, this is a beautiful scene. I had to redo a conclusion to a chapter of John here yesterday, and I did it in a different direction, from a different view, just in a more northerly direction. This is now more, well, southwesterly direction. And so I was standing here thinking, okay, Exodus, what is the book of Exodus about? It's about the people living in slavery in Egypt. Right, this is how the book starts. Right, Genesis ended up with them, well, in a very good, small group of people, but in a very good position in the land of Egypt. Exodus starts off with them, a big group of people, but enslaved in the land of Egypt. And so, ultimately, I think the message, or well, not how from a Christian point of view, Exodus used, or by Jesus used, is the fact of living in slavery, right? Jesus in Matthew, it stated that out of Egypt I've called my son. Jesus being ultimately the true Egypt. He said, out of Egypt I've called my son. But before there was the true Egypt, Jesus, that is, the fulfillment of, there was the antitype of the nation. Right, the whole nation is an antitype ultimately to Jesus. And them being let out of slavery. So, I'm jumping the gun here now, right? Because I want to get to just the idea of why I did, or why I'm recording this at the moment here in Pattaya. Okay, so I've mentioned it a number of times, Pattaya is infamous, right? And last night as well, just going out and going to the night market and places like that, and you see people begging on the streets, and you see people selling themselves out there. Unluckily, just the fact of is that the sex trade is well and rampant here. Okay, if you want to buy something to eat, you go to the shop on the one side of the road, and if you want to buy something to eat in a different way, human-wise that is, you go to the opposite side of the road. And it doesn't matter the flavor, they're all here. Okay, this is not a video for kids to watch. But this is reality. If you want to have guys lady boys, girls, all shapes and sizes. You can find it all here. But it's not only, it's not only in Pattaya like that. In Indonesia, the old guy who took us to the hotel, on the motorbike, he was like, "You want girls tonight? I'll organize for you." Right? And I've experienced this in other places as well. And I've mentioned it before. In Russia, I was in St. Petersburg, driving the roads and all the girls lining the streets, and I was just coming from my small farm community, like, oh, well, they're all looking for a ride to get home. No, they were not looking for a ride to get home, they were selling themselves. Now, I think unluckily, Pattaya is just more infamous for that, and then it's like Amsterdam, the red light district. I've been there once and in that area, and yeah, right. Maybe I expected something more sleazy. But anyhow, this, I think, takes the cake. Slavery. Okay, so people here living in sin, in this kind of sin. It's bad. It really is bad. Very, very bad. Okay? And this is why I'm doing this, because ultimately Exodus is about people being let out of slavery. Because the ultimate is not living in slavery in Egypt, but living in slavery in sin. That is the ultimate problem. And Exodus is an introduction to that. Is that story that lays the foundation for that. So the book was written, I believe, by Moses. Right? 1,400 odd years before Jesus was born. Okay, I don't hold to all the theories of there were these different groups of people sitting, gathering, and through the ages they were writing, rewriting, adding. Okay, I believe that the first 5 books of the Bible, the Pentateuch, was written by Moses in the time that the people were in the desert. That's just that. Okay, I know all the other theories, I don't subscribe to any of them.